This week I'm talking about families in the Bible. Only the families I'm talking about aren't always exemplars of right behavior. In fact, in each of the stories there is treachery by at least one family member against another. In a strange sort of way, these stories remind me that the God we worship is a God who is able to use the most imperfect people and improbable families for God's own purposes. In other words, in spite of our foibles, grace abounds. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, June 23rd, 2022. Yesterday we talked about the story of Cain and Abel, and how Cain, in a fit of jealousy, killed his own brother. And even though God banished him, God still acted decisively to protect Cain from other people who might seek to harm him because he was a fugitive and a wanderer. Today's story also includes treachery on the part of one brother against another, though it doesn't take the form of murder in this case. This one includes an act of treachery and deception, and involves not only one brother taking advantage of his brother, but also the treachery of their mother. We know it as the story of Jacob and Esau. The story is way too long to read in its entirety, but the treachery begins this way. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, living in tents. Isaac, their father, loved Esau because he was fond of game, but Rebekah, their mother, loved Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the field and he was famished. Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stuff, for I am famished." Therefore he was called Edom. Jacob said, "First, sell me your birthright." Esau said, "I'm about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank, and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Once again, we have a story of two brothers who are different. In the story of Cain and Abel, Cain was a farmer planting crops while Abel was a shepherd. Now we have Esau, a sort of prototypical manly man who apparently liked the outdoors and hunting. And we have Jacob, portrayed as a sort of namby-pamby man who preferred to stay in his tent and cook. Not that that's a namby-pamby thing to do in our day and age, but in that day and age, it was not considered manly work. The writer, therefore, in just a few words, has drawn a vivid picture of brothers who could not be more different. But the writer also introduces another element. Each of the boys is favored by a different parent. Esau by their father, Jacob by their mother. That detail will come into play a bit later, but now Jacob takes advantage of his brother's short-term desire for food by bargaining for his birthright. Esau, just in presumably from a hunt, wants food, and he wants it now. Seeing an opportunity, Jacob asks for Esau's birthright in exchange for the stew he has prepared. Now, as the story continues, the time comes for their father Isaac to die. But before he dies, he needs to give his blessing to Esau, which is the right of the elder son. Once again, Jacob, this time egged on and assisted by their equally scheming mother, dresses in his brother's clothes, and his mother takes the skins of the kids she has used to prepare a stew for Isaac and ties the skins on Jacob's hands and arms and around his neck so that his now blind father can be fooled into giving him Esau's blessing. The ruse works. Esau is once again tricked out of his inheritance, and he's angry enough to kill. But before the story follows the same trajectory as the story of Cain and Abel, Jacob flees in order to avoid his brother's wrath. but the damage is done. Esau is deprived of his birthright and his blessing. The family is broken apart, and the brothers estranged from one another. Next, after an extended interlude in which Jacob weds two sisters and builds up enormous wealth, the story takes a most unexpected turn. And of course, I'm skipping over several important parts of the story in the interest of time and clarity. When Jacob and his household, his wives and his children, servants and flocks, draw near Canaan, word reaches him that his brother Esau is approaching along with 400 men. Assuming that Esau is coming to take revenge, Jacob divides his family and flocks and approaches Esau, bowing down before him and offering him some of his bounty as a peace offering. But instead of taking revenge, Esau welcomes him home with a hug and a kiss. Even more surprising, Esau refuses to take Jacob's gifts, claiming that he has enough and doesn't need any more. And so, out of a seemingly hopeless family split, two brothers are reconciled. In a time of seemingly hopeless fragmentation and division, maybe there's hope for us yet. Tomorrow, yet another story of family treachery and reconciliation. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do, this day and in all the days ahead.